This is Chip Maxwell, and you're listening to the Retire Smart podcast with David Brooks. Are there other tax-free accounts in addition to Roth IRAs? What are the chances of Roth accounts being taxed in the future? And will Social Security benefits be reduced in 2032 as funds run out? David Brooks has answers to these questions in today's Q&A episode. Into the Q&A we go, David, and these are questions from our recent September Speaker Series event with Becky Swansburg, CEO of Stonewood Financial, on legislative risk, especially pertaining to tax policy. And the first question is about tax-free accounts. Are there other tax-free accounts in addition to Roth IRAs?
Yes, there are, and there's a myriad of ways you can receive tax-free growth or tax-free income, understanding how our tax code lays it out. So in addition to Roth IRAs, the most basic would let you know that there are Roth 401ks, right? They weren't always around. Very prevalent today, and over 88% of all 401ks in America now offer a Roth version, and this includes 403bs, et cetera. And in most recent legislation, we now actually have SEP Roth IRAs. These are usually for small employers or self-employed folks where you can actually do those in a Roth IRA, and you can put a much larger contribution into them, which means you can get dollars into tax-free accounts. If your 401k allows it, and only about 8% do, after you've max contributed to your Roth, and you have a catch-up contribution and two catch-up contributions that now have to go into the Roth when your income gets too high. When you're over 60 years of age, you get the catch-up. Over 50 and over 60, we have two new thresholds, so you can put more money away. In addition to that, the after-tax contribution, you can make contributions into your 401k. It goes into an account that's segregated from your Roth and your traditional, and then if you follow the rules, that will roll into your Roth IRA at your retirement. Again, another way to compile tax-free assets. On top of that, if you purchase municipal bonds, if you live in a state like Nebraska or Iowa that has an income tax, you're typically going to buy municipal bonds issued from a municipality in that state because you do not have to pay federal or state income tax on the interest you earn. Now, interest rates are not sky high. However, if you have an effective tax rate of 31% or more in Nebraska, municipal bonds may make sense for you because the tax equivalent yield will outpace what you could get on a taxable equivalent investment. On top of that, Chip, you can do a myriad of tax-free investments through setting up proper trust work or setting up even specifically designed cash value life insurance policies. I do all of the above, okay?
You don't know what you don't know. This is why you check with a professional.
Well, on top of that, under the tax code today, if you had non-qualified assets just in growth assets that didn't pay any dividends, you don't have to pay any tax on that growth until you sell said asset. You would pay what's called a capital gains tax. But under current tax law, a married couple over 65, their standard deduction, Chip, is over $46,000 with the senior deduction today. If they're over 65, you could actually go and have $112,000 of capital gains and not pay one penny in capital gains tax. That would be tax-free income if that was your only source of income and you wanted to sell off capital gains, have not a penny of interest from the bank, not turn on your Social Security, and you could get over $100,000 tax-free from capital gains. Again, you don't know what you don't know. So the answer is there's a myriad of ways to achieve tax-free or very low tax income in retirement, but it takes planning and it takes typically a couple of years of work. It's not like that.
Another Roth-related question, David. What are the chances of Roth accounts being taxed in the future?
Nil, zero,
well, the
nada.
Government already taxed them on the front end, right? There's no way you could rationalize or legally tax it again.
No, and we've had our current tax code, or at least our current version of it, but the tax code in general the foundation was laid back in 1912, and never have we taxed assets that have already been taxed from a prior year. We only tax future assets. Now, may they cap how much someone puts in a Roth? May they tax how much you get into a Roth? The tax to get money in there may change? Absolutely. But once it's in the Roth, you are never going to pay tax on those dollars again. And only in the 138 years we've had the income tax, Chip, only twice have we actually changed the tax bill in the year. This was the third year, actually, technically, we did it, because the tax bill must be laid out to the public before they can change it. And so even if they pass it a couple months later, it can go back to that day that they initially announced it, but never in a prior tax year.
Next question, David, is about IRMA, income-related monthly adjustment amount, that nasty Medicare penalty that can bite people. And the question is, who are all the people affected by IRMA? We just had a class on this recently.
Yeah, we just had a class
Smart
this week. So I will tell you, it was 8.4 million senior citizens were affected by it last year. So basically,
better remind people what it is.
So basically, when you are receiving taxable income in retirement, Social Security, road retirement, pensions, IRA distributions, dividends, interest income, any of those sources are accounted towards your taxable income. And once you go over a threshold, currently about $106,000 for a single individual and double that, $212,000 for a married couple, you now have to pay a tax. We call it a success penalty to access Medicare. And people are like, well, I'll just opt out of Medicare. I can afford my own care. You can't. When you take Social Security, you must take Medicare. You don't get to take one without the other once you're qualified for both, and therefore we can tax you. And the rate for Medicare, those penalties are going up at an average of 6.48% a year, and have done that since inception, which was in 2004, put into law under the Bush tax cuts in 2004.
Boy, this is another example of why you want to have a chat with a professional so you don't run into this kind of a buzzsaw.
So where this catches people is married couples that are not over the threshold, but then we lose a spouse, unfortunately passes away, and the survivor ends up with all the same RMDs still apply, all the income. They just lose the smaller, typically, of the Social Security checks, and so they usually only lose $20,000 or $30,000 income, but maybe they had $150,000 in income. Now that survivor is over the IRMA penalty line, and sometimes is over two penalty, and there's 5 such penalty lines.
This sounds like another version of the widow's dilemma, where the single filer ends up in a higher tax bracket because you're now single.
And we show clients it can be between $60,000 and $150,000 over your lifetime retirement, just paying these penalties over and above what you're paying to access Medicare.
Yikes. All right, one more, David. Social Security. Will Social Security benefits be reduced in 2032 as funds run out?
If you believe the government, the answer is yes. I do not believe that. Again, the government's telling you that's what's coming. They are telegraphing it. It's on the letter out every year. If you log into your account, it says it clear as a bell. In the year 2032, we're going to reduce by an estimated 18%. The CBO says 17.2% the last I checked. So when we build plans out, we can literally build them out for clients and show them a reduction of their Social Security. Just cut it 20% in 2032. Are you okay? Because that's what you're really asking. Am I going to be okay? We can plan and show you if it even happened, would you be okay? And would you like to know the answer is yes or no? All right. And we can adjust your plan for it. However, politically speaking, I don't think anybody has the political brass to cut that.
Keep it clean for compliance.
To cut that benefit from one of the largest voting blocks in the U.S. history, which is mainly baby boomers. Because you see, behind it is my generation, Gen X, and we're less than half the size of baby boomers. So the pressure comes off in just about 16, 17 years from all these folks that are rolling on to these entitlement programs today, and we will ease the pressure. And then we have a much larger generation behind me, the millennials, over 95 million of them, that are now in their peak earning years. The oldest is turning 45 this year, and they're starting to earn real income, and they're paying more into the tax coffers. So we do have a problem to fix it, and politically it can be fixed, and actually we should simply move the age back. It's very simple. But I think the reality is to get the political solved, if we have people that will do bipartisan, we're going to means test, we're going to increase the income that you pay tax into the system, and then we're going to have to push the age back. It's going to be a combination of all three, and frankly, get it done. Just get it done and let America go back to stop arguing over something like this that's just math. But politicians like to use it to get reelected.
Thank you for listening to the Retire Smart podcast with David Brooks. If you want to learn how to generate lifetime income, reduce your tax bill, and maintain your lifestyle in retirement, visit retiresmartpodcast.com. And make sure to subscribe to keep up with new episodes every week.